Well, Uncle Doug.
Uncle Mark.
You almost forgot his name.
Almost forgot his name.
We're just getting to know each other. You know what I like is rattan. Do you like a good woven household item?
I feel like you're in the wrong.
The itchier, the better.
The itchier, the better. The more fragile and scratchy and dry.
I feel like there's been a miscommunication.
And twiggy.
And useless.
Yeah, and I think Dan this week has the Wicker and rattan report for us.
I think there was a mishearing of a thing.
Was there?
I feel like we didn't. I feel like maybe you could listen better.
Oh well, okay. If I feel like this is an attack on Wicker and rattan, and
It's
I don't
Wicker Talk. And Mark and Doug.
All right. Well,
basket crafts, motherfuckers.
All right, I'm pivoting then. We're doing it. We're going. No, hang on. Now that you've kind of like made things weird, I'm just gonna have to do this. Let me just light this sage for a second.
Ah, good call.
Do you guys? I hope you don't mind the smell of burning sage. Doesn't matter because it's happening.
Fire alarm's going to go off, but that's
all
fine.
right. I just need you to put this crystal on your forehead, and you put this one on your balls, please. All right.
Can't fit it.
All right. Okay. Now that the room is cleansed,
Yes.
I'll start.
Thank you.
You know, every so often, somebody goes to a Renaissance fair dressed in a homemade leather tunic and Birkenstocks, and they're just taking it in, having a good time, eating a turkey leg with their hands.
Did you say leather tunic?
Yes, I said that.
It sounds nightmarish.
Just stay with me.
Yeah.
They're eating their turkey leg and listening to passable lute music, and they suddenly stop and they look around at all the girls in corseted crushed velvet dresses with flowers braided into their hair, and men with shaggy beards and computer screen protection glasses hoisting plastic flagons full of mead and Bud Light, and using phrases like "merry meet unto thee" and "good sir" and "how art thou?" And they take all this in, and they take a deep breath, and they think to themselves, why can't this be my religion?
This sounds very autobiographical, Dan.
Well,
highly detailed picture you're painting.
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying sometimes that happens.
Yes.
Well, I will say this. Those people had a king, a prophet, and a savior in the person of one Gerald Gardner.
Hail Gerald.
Oh, what an exotic name.
Right?
Did he go by Gerald the Gardener?
No.
That would have worked.
Although his middle name was the. That's weird.
It is weird.
How did you know that? Yes. We're talking about Wicca here.
Yes.
Not Wicker, but Wicca.
Are they so different?
Are they?
No.
They can be used in tandem, surely.
Yeah.
Anyway, born in the delightfully named Blundellsands in Lancashire, England.
Blundellsands.
Almost did a little spit take.
Almost got a spit take out of Uncle Mark.
Blundellstand.
Blundellsands, England. In 1884, our Mr. Gardner was just a guy. It was just a normal guy for the bulk of his life. He bounced around the colonies of the early 20th century England as a young man, taking civil service jobs in places like Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka, and Malaya, now known as a whole bunch of places in the Southeast Asia area. And he took great interest in the indigenous communities of each of the places that he went, which, let's face it, was actually a huge break from the tradition of his colleagues, whose racial policies could probably be described as, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Jesus God.
Gardner, on the other hand...
Colonialism in one catchy phrase. Jesus.
I probably should cut that.
We probably should cut that.
We'll figure that out later. We'll see what happens.
Cody has the racism filter.
That's right.
Thank God.
Gardner, on the other hand, was fascinated by his new friends. He made friends with, for instance, the members of the Dayak and Dusun tribes of Borneo. Wikipedia calls him a, quote, amateur anthropologist, which I'm pretty sure means that he just stared a little too creepily as he hung out with these people.
Right, and stole some of their shit.
He was particularly interested in their religious beliefs and practices, which involved various magics, including healing rituals and seances, etc. But it wasn't until after his retirement in the 1930s that he really let his mind run wild. He had returned to England, and something clicked in the man. All that time abroad had definitely turned him off to stodgy British Christian boringness. So he cultivated a look that can only be described as meth addict cosplaying as a troll doll.
Jesus.
And he joined the occult. Specifically, the local group, the Rosicrucian Order Crotona Fellowship. That led him to the local coven, into which he was initiated in 1939.
Yeah, we got to do it. We got to talk about the Rosicrucians sometime.
Yeah, we really do.
Wonderfully silly.
It's amazing how all of these things just pop up and interweave with each other. It's a beautiful tapestry.
It is. A beautiful
One might say a wicker basket.
No.
Wow. No help for you there, Doug.
Should I leave?
Just hung it out to dry. Gardner believed that the New Forest Coven was the continuation of a long and possibly unbroken line of practice of the ancient religion of witchcraft. He believed this idea mainly based on the work of one Margaret Murray, who was an anthropologist and folklorist. She was a professional one, not one of those amateurs like him.
Gross.
Whose popular witch cult hypothesis suggested that early Christian persecution of witches wasn't just a way for assholes to torture uppity women, but rather an attempt to eradicate a pre-Christian pagan religion.
Why can't it be both?
Well, indeed.
Yeah.
Except that theory, as it turns out, was, for lack of a better word, wrong. Or at least unfounded in anything solid enough to make it credible. But don't try to tell that to Gerald Gardner, because he was off to the races. He read everything he could get his hands on about what the ancient pagans used to do. Unfortunately, there really wasn't much to read, so he did what any self-respecting mid-50s garden gnome would do. He started making up shit.
Yay!
He incorporated Masonic rituals and occultist nonsense. See episode 88 about Aleister Crowley for more on who this guy was reading at the time. And what he came up with was eventually Wicca. Side note, Gardner didn't call it Wicca. He called it the craft of the wise, or witchcraft, or the witch cult. But eventually, his rival Charles Cardell's word was the one that took off. Suck on that, Gerald.
He had a rival?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
We'll get to it. But
Okay.
There's a panoply of things, of directions you can go with Wicca. It's very open.
A power struggle within Big Wicca.
Right?
Exciting news.
So what is Wicca? What do they believe? Well, here's a quote from Wicca.com that should help us understand. Quote, Wicca is a deep appreciation and awe in watching the sunrise or sunset, the forest in the light of a glowing moon, a meadow enchanted by the first light of day. It is the morning dew on the petals of a beautiful flower, the gentle caress of a warm summer breeze upon your skin, or the warmth of the summer sun on your face. Wicca is the fall of colorful autumn leaves and the softness of winter snow. It is light and shadow and all that lies in between. You know, all that stuff that lies in between light
It sounds
and
like
shadow.
an advertisement for Massengale.
Or the back cover of a romance novel.
Yeah.
I'm continuing.
Sorry.
It is the song of the birds and the other creatures of the wild. It is being in the presence of Mother Earth's nature and being humbled in reverence. When we are in the temple of the Lord and Lady, we are not just prone to the arrogance of human technology as they touch our souls. To be a witch is to be a healer, a teacher, a seeker, a giver, a protector of all things. If this path is yours, may you walk it with honor, light, and integrity.
Okay. Note to listeners, never ask a Wiccan what they believe.
Well, that was Wicca.com. I could give you the much more concise version from Wicca.org, which is this: harmony, reincarnation, power through knowledge, law of attraction, and imagine that deity exists in the center of your star. What?
Okay.
You're welcome.
Why not?
Sure. And imagine.
Sounds relatively harmless.
Yeah, well, you'll notice that Wiccans are super into specificity when it comes to their belief system. The problem here is that there is no central authority in Wicca, so the theology is, let's call it, flexible.
It's loose.
It's squishy. Some, possibly most, Wiccans believe in a dual deity setup, so there is a bit of a theology to it. On one side, you have the mother goddess, or triple goddess, or the moon goddess. And on the
Which
other...
one is it?
It's all. And then on the other side, you have the horned god. That's right. Well done, guys. The goddess is called the triple goddess because she is triune, meaning there's three of her. She's three phases, like the moon, you see. She's the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
I think there's more than 3 phases of the moon. But
Shut your fucking mouth.
Hush now.
She's also the virgin, the mother, and the hag, or any of another few versions.
Hag.
Okay.
It's a
And-
nice word.
And then there's the horned god, who is born during one part of the pagan calendar year, all based on Irish pagan traditions, just to make the names of things unpronounceable, and then becomes a man throughout the year and then dies in the fall. I think there's actually something about the horned god impregnates the goddess while he's a man, and then she gives birth to him later in the year after he's dead, which means that there's a time when he's alive and she's pregnant with him.
It's the plot for the Terminator.
Something. Anyway,
Wicca is based on time travel.
time is a flat circle.
the takeaway.
Don't worry about it. There may also be belief in another more powerful god, sometimes called Drytyn, spelled Dryghtyn. But
Not a word.
not a word at all, but that god is unknowable, so we're stuck with these two.
Yeah, but there's obviously some 6-year-olds across the country named Drytyn who
Yes.
are
Yes.
looking forward to a miserable life.
Right, indeed. Or I should say, when I said we're stuck with these two, we might be stuck with 4 because she's 3. But
Right.
there might be 6 because he might be 3 too, so unknown.
Okay.
Number of gods. The rest of Wicca is whatever sounds cool to somebody who might find themselves excited about the prospect of witchcraft. Crystals, herbs, powders, potions, casting spells, but only for good, they promise.
Yeah.
Anybody who would cast a spell for evil is not a true Scotsman, or Wiccan. The Wiccan motto, they call it the Rede, spelled R-E-D-E, is, if it harm none, do what you will, or actually, an ye harm none, do what ye will, because old-timey sounding words are way more magicer than modern language. Basically, anything that sounds wooey and supernatural, they are in. Especially if they can say it has to do with nature. Oh, as that passage before says, they love nature.
Yeah.
Dancing naked in the forest? Yes. Worshipping a tree? Damned right. Stonehenge? Not really nature, but it's got to be magical somehow, right?
All day. Well, one day. Yes.
Well, one day or every day or 2 days. It depends. Is it a solstice? I don't know.
it's an impressive piece of solstice hardware. That's
Yes,
what
For
it is.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a nice henge.
It's a as henges go.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
It's one of the better henges.
It's my top 10.
Top 10 hedge for sure.
Absolutely.
Henge talk.
Absolutely. Incidentally, that dancing naked thing may have an interesting origin. Gardner called it skyclad, which a word that I have said on this podcast before.
Really? I don't remember Scott.
Yeah, some claim that the skyclad concept that he uses comes from a supposed record of Italian witchcraft by a guy named Charles Leland. But I first encountered that phrase when researching the ascetic monks of Jainism. Is it possible that Gardner encountered the idea in his travels through the colonies? Very much yes. Is it also possible that he was surrounded by a bunch of impressionable people and thought it would be fun to see them naked? Also yes.
Classic.
All things are possible in Wicca. I could get into things like the Wiccan calendar. They love their equinoxes and their solstices.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is that there's no real dogma or universal belief to these people. The number of different Wiccan belief systems seems to be almost exactly the same number as there are Wiccan practitioners. Most of them seem to just sort of believe everything but favor their own variations.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I went to a witchcraft store here in Salt Lake, which does exist.
Yeah.
They moved, by the way. In case you're looking for the old location, you got to go to the new one.
What's it called?
Crone's Hollow?
Yeah. Well, it is in Baba Yaga's house, so it does get up and move
Yes.
on big chicken feet.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I went to that store, and they had everything from cauldrons to chess games to leather-bound books, jewelry, divining rods. It is a hodgepodge. And if you ask them what herbs to use to make your next lover kind, they'll tell you. If you tell them that somebody else said it was totally different herbs, they'll likely agree to that too and say something like, "Ooh, that might be really good."
Yeah.
It's all good. And
That's how medicine works. Just any of it is fine for whatever.
right, exactly. I did, however, hear someone derisively talking about how people will just sage smudge any old thing, and what are they even doing? That's like a nuclear bomb for the spirit world. You'll get rid of everything. You want some good spirits around too.
It's just careless.
It's just
It's
careless.
wasteful.
it's idiotic. Yeah, exactly.
What if you end up chasing out the Horned Lord?
You don't know.
You don't know.
You want him around.
You want him around.
Or you don't, because there are feminist Wiccans who only believe in goddesses. So maybe not.
Ease up on the sage. We'll never get a henge if you don't ease up on the sage.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been hearing that since childhood.
I think there's a lot of confused Megans on the other side of this segment. They don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, indeed. There are atheist Wiggins.
Wiggins.
There's Chief Wiggins.
And Ralph Wiggins.
There's all kinds of them.
I'm a cult.
I'm the Horned Lord.
My cat's breath smells like wolfbane. There are atheist Wiccans. There are people who join Wicca just because they think they'll get laid, which, let's face it, has a decent shot of working.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people join religions.
I think so.
To get laid.
Yeah.
Why a lot of people start them.
Doesn't work as well in Mormonism, but, good work if you can get it.
Yeah.
This ends up being the religion of wanting the world to be more than just a rock spinning in space. It is for people who are dissatisfied with the dumb Christianity that they were raised with, but unable to face the idea that there isn't some sort of mysterious power out there. And if there are mysterious powers out there, surely, somehow, those powers are there so that we humans can use them, right? I mean, it has to be, right? Right? And that's it. That's all we got.
Ask the wind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've
go out
known,
and join a coven if you want to.
I've known some Wiccans, and it was completely syncretic. Like whatever,
Yeah.
a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of tarot.
Yeah, bring in some Native American stuff, and they will be just pleased as punch.
Yep.
Put up a dream catcher and say that you learned something in ancient Ayurveda, and they will be thrilled.
Wave a raven wing through some sage smoke, and you will get laid.
You will.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Trust me.
I mean, at least it's I guess it is cultural appropriation all over the world, so it's equal opportunity, but it's also. It's not super exclusive, which as religions go is kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to accept everybody.
They're like the Borg; they'll just absorb it.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
assimilate. So, so go get some wicker on, people.
Go.
A tisket, a tasket, a witch in a basket is the best wisdom we can impart.
Indeed.
All right. Well, let's
Let's tootle along.
yeah.